Okay. So man bo'lmasam mikrofonni o'chirib qo'yaveraman. Good luck, guys.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. We're getting
Hi.
ready. Hi there. All right. We're starting here in about 3 minutes, guys.
Yeah.
And one. All righty, guys. It is 10 o'clock. Oh, I'm sorry. It's 8 o'clock in Uzbekistan now. So welcome, everyone. Good to see you again. If we haven't met before, it's nice to meet you. My name is Pierre. Let's see. Today we're going to be talking about strategies for the speaking sections. And I wanted to review a few things from last week before we that's right, from last week before we jump into the new material. So, can anybody tell me what should any response have? There's 3 things that every response should have, or every answer should have. 3 parts. We talked about them last week.
Good evening, Mister.
Good evening.
The
Hello,
three
Medina.
things. Hello. The 3 things that we should talk in speaking part 1 is, I think, our answer, the first thing, and an explanation and a smooth example.
Exactly. So we need your response, right? Your explanation,
Yeah,
your example. Good
of
job.
course.
Perfect. That's exactly it.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. All right, everyone. Quick reminder, okay? Especially everything that you talk about, you need to explain it and you need to provide examples. That's how you show mastery of the language. If you can explain um, the topic, then you can work fluently within the language. So that's why that's really important. Um, one more question. Remember, we did a little activity where you had to show me a paper. Um, how long do you have to get ready in part 2?
In part two, we'll have 1 minute time preparation, and
Good.
we'll have 1 to 2 minutes to talk about the, for example, description of something.
Perfect. Exactly. 1 minute to prepare and then speak for 1 to 2 minutes. Great answer. Thank
Yeah.
you. Now, the notes for part 2. How should the notes be when you're taking notes for that 1 minute? What did we talk about last week? Gulnosa.
May I answer?
Yes, you may. Thank you.
Good evening. Nice to hear you again. So
evening.
I think that in part two answers, you will have a minute for preparation, and you should use this time very efficiently. So you may get the keywords that you are going to use in your speech, explanations, or just you may have a plan of what you are going to stop to say.
Correct. And then great answer. Thank you so much. And one last thing to add is a good note for yourself for you to write down what tense is the
Yes.
is the topic in. So if you can write down the tense that the topic is in, that way you have a point of reference of how you should be kind of how you should be answering. Great answer. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Let's see. Okay, cool. Almost there. All righty. So now um let's go into the speaking strategies. Let me share my screen here. Oh, I'm sorry, host. Sukra, can you please co-host me?
Yeah, for sure. Just a minute, please.
Thank you.
So, you want to share your screen? Yes.
Correct.
Yeah, just a minute, please. Okay, so here it is. Is it right? Okay, right now?
Yes, it is. Thank you. All righty, guys. Okay, let's go into strategies for part 1. Okay. The first strategy that I wanted to talk to you about, guys, is that it doesn't matter, especially for part 1, doesn't matter what question they ask you, pretend there's always a why. So your response, your explanation is the why, and then you give the example to show further understanding. Okay, so never wait for the examiner to say why, because if your answer is too short, they might ask you why. Okay, they might ask you to provide more details. So it is very important that you pretend that the why is after every question regardless. Okay, now with that in mind, response, explanation, and example. Let's have a quick review of that, and I want to pick on some people to give it a whirl, give it a little try over here. So let's see. Um, Munira, can you hear me? What about Kamola? Kamola, are you there? No. Giyosirin. Oh, okay. I see someone with their mic open. Nilufar, are you there?
Yeah, I am here.
Hey,
evening.
nice to hear you. Good evening. All right. Let's practice a little bit from last week. Review that. Regardless of what I ask you, always explain the why. So remember, response, explanation, example. Let's talk about clothing and fashion. Have
Okay.
you ever bought shoes online?
Can you repeat your question?
Yeah. Have you ever bought shoes online?
Bad line. I don't understand your question.
Have you ever bought shoes on the internet? Have you ever bought shoes online?
Yes. You mean have I ordered clothes by internet?
Shoes specifically. Yes. Have you ever ordered shoes from the internet? So if I wanted to make that question more natural, then I would say, have you ever bought shoes online? I put it in the chat so you can take a look at the question.
Okay. No, I never buy shoes by internet because I always go to our market in Tashkent and look. I try on them because my right foot is smaller than the second one, the left one. That's why I always try on the shoes. That's why I never order shoes by internet. But I always what is I always look or look the internet. There are a lot of beautiful shoes in some channels. I don't know. No.
No worries. Next time, take a second to think. Remember we talked about the tips last week. Oh, that's a good question. Oh, let me think about that for a second. All right, buy yourself some time. Remember those little intermissions there. Now for your question, sorry, not for your question. For the question you answer, have you ever bought shoes online? Remember, try to copy the grammar. I never bought shoes online. You should say, I have never bought shoes online.
I never.
I have never. Yeah. So the question asks you, have you ever? So in order to paraphrase that question more properly, I have never.
Yes,
Okay?
it is a present perfect.
All right,
Okay.
exactly. And another thing, not try on them, but try them on. All right. That phrasal verb. Try them on.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So try
Thank
the
you.
shoes on. Try them shoes on. Yep. And those are two main things that I wanted to point out to you. But thank you for participating.
Thank you.
Awesome. All righty. So she did well. Just so everybody knows, she did well. She understood the question after we clarified everything, and she provided plenty of details. We just need to work on the structure a little bit more, but at least as we say in English, the meats and potatoes are there. We just got to put the garnish and stuff on top. Let's see. I want to pick on one more. Any volunteers? Get a quick practice?
I want.
All right. Well, I'll get you next time too, okay?
Okay.
I'm ready
All right.
to become your volunteer.
Hey, thank you so much, Alasin.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you. Let's talk about cooking. Do you like cooking?
Nowadays, yeah, I love cooking because I'm a student. I live in another city, not my hometown, and especially I live in the apartments. I manage to some kind of food. Not every single day, but usually I cook twice or 3 times a week.
Okay, cool. Just in the last part, twice or 3 times a week. So you can say just 2 or 3 times a week. When you say that specific part, not twice or 3 times a week, but 2 or 3 times a week. Or you can say, not American people don't often say this, but British people will often say twice or thrice a week, but not a very American English but good job. You gave a lengthy answer, and you gave some good examples. All right, thank you. So you definitely got we need to still work on the structure a little bit, but you definitely have a full understanding of the question.
Thank you.
All right, one more, and then let's jump into the main material. Majana, the one with the Siluric name with the hands up.
Hello, my name is Mahina.
Mahina, sorry, nice to meet you, Mahina. Hi. Okay.
How are you?
Good. Thank you. Let's talk about books. What is your favorite subject to read about?
Nowadays, my favorite subject is working with my IELTS. But my favorite book is the subject of methodology. And nowadays my aim is to do some research for finding some methods of learning English. Unfortunately, I try, and I want to improve my English. That's why it's very interesting for me.
Awesome. Thank you. So I like how you started the sentence with nowadays, but don't repeat that in the same answer in such a short period of time. So the second one, you could have said currently, at the moment. All right, just to vary up the vocabulary a little bit. Remember the TH sound, you got to bite your tongue a little bit. Method.
Yes. Okay.
Once you get it down, once you have a better understanding of it, then you kind of just put it right behind your teeth. All right, but for practicing to get the sound at first, just bite on your tongue. All right, method.
Method. Okay, it's a little problem with all students in our country, I think. I think. Okay.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I like your teaching. You're ambitious, you're enthusiastic, and thank you very much for working with us.
Awesome. So since you like it, I'm gonna pick on you more later on, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Nice talking to you. All righty. Okay, guys. Yeah. We all got to work on those when we learn a second language. So I've been living in Vietnam for 10 years, and my Vietnamese is still very poor. So it's like the more you get to know me, the more you understand me. So I understand what it's like to learn a foreign language. I feel your pain.
Okay. Thank you for understanding.
Yeah, no worries. Now, most of you did pretty well on staying with the tense, and that's very important. We need to paraphrase that part, okay? The tense. Okay, let's go jump into part 2 now. For part 2, everything is, it's like a little story. You need to like kind of build it before you start. That 1 minute, you don't have time to obviously write down all the sentences. But you need to, when you write down, you need to have an order going. And that's what some people mess up on. They don't take that 1 minute. I wouldn't say not seriously, but they're not well prepared on how to plan for it, how to be productive in it. So remember, short writing, okay? So a little word and put everything in order. Make sure you write down the tense, okay? Is it present participle? Is it past perfect, past tense, you know? Describe something you did a year ago, you know, or describe something you would like to do. Describe something you like doing in the morning, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we need to pay attention to the tense, and the tense is going to guide how you're going to construct your sentences. Okay. One of the things that you want to think about during that 1 minute is to have that first thing you want to say ready. All right. Remember, yeah, what else? Let me think. Okay. If you need to buy yourself some time. Now, you don't want to do that too often, but it is something that you should keep in mind. All right. Not enough students use that. Every time I do the mock test, especially in my local work here, a lot of the students seem to forget that they get really nervous and they just start looking around very quietly. So remember, let me think for a second. What else? What else can I add? All right. Think of little phrases like that. Let me put it on in the chat room. Nope. Yep. Thank you, Marina. No, the examiners do not check those notes for any reason. Somebody asked in the chat room if the examiners check the notes, and no, that gets thrown away. You are recorded though, because they're gonna check it to score you later on. That's it. Okay. What else can I add? Let me think. Okay. Those are good for part 2. All right, but
Mason, can I ask some question?
please.
If I am a teacher at specialized boarding school, and we are required to take or taking certificate IELTS C1, which one do you advise? IDP or what is IDP?
IDP is the agency that administers the IELTS in many countries. That's the place where you go take the test. They might even have some classes and whatnot for you. Where do you the IELTS shouldn't matter where you take it. When you go sign up for the test online, it'll give you an option. So it really depends on what center has the best facilities for you or which one's closer to you. As far as signing up. Yeah, but you sign up on one place and then you choose the center on the Cambridge website.
And
now C1 is different from IELTS. C1 is the European method of the testing, and IELTS goes from a band 1 to 9 too. Okay.
Okay. And which one is better for teachers, general IELTS or academic IELTS?
I'm not one to answer that question. It depends on the requirements for your employer. So I would talk to your job to see what they're looking for, or any future jobs that you might be interested in. Talk to them. Talk to people who are in that field, and try to see, because I've seen places that they require one thing and the same for the job. That's kind of like either a company's choice or the government. For example, I don't know about in your government, but the government in Vietnam doesn't care for non-native teachers whether you take the academic or the general one. They just want to see a score. Yeah, you see. So you need to check with your
Thank you.
government and with your institutions over there locally.
Okay.
All
Thank you.
right, no worries. So let's go back more into the strategies of it all. And sure, some Shagnusa, she wrote the academic is required in most cases, and that might be the case in Uzbekistan. So yeah, definitely you should find out more about this, not take my word for it. All right, now we talked about this yesterday. I want to share a link with you too. Englishclub.com. Okay. It gives you a strategy, and I always use this with my students. It gives you the 4 types of sentence structures: independent clauses, compound sentence structures, complex sentence structures, and it goes through each one individually. You guys should review this for your writing and for your speaking. Okay. And whenever you answer a question, you should strive to use a mix of structures. Okay. Not just follow one structure when you're answering a question, but to follow multiple structures. All right. And you need to practice these. If you want to get anything above a 7, you need to be constantly using, for most people, you need to be constantly using complex structures. All right. You like grammar. All right. You're one of the only few who likes grammar. Thank you for sharing. Okay. Not many people like grammar, especially us native speakers. We don't like grammar that much. I'm one of the few that tolerates it. Okay, guys. So, whenever you're adding information, okay, instead of making a lot of simple sentences, join them together into longer, more complex sentences. These are connecting words, okay, conjunctions: and, but, yet, so, therefore, however, although, since. Okay. One thing that I always like to do the example is like, let's do it with, like, for example, do you like chicken? I like chicken. It's a very delicious food. I eat it every day. Okay. So that's a lot of simple sentences, and there's one adverb there. But for the most part, just a simple sentence. So if you want to take that up a notch, do you like chicken? I absolutely love chicken. It's one of the most delicious foods on earth. Is considered a healthy protein, and many people consume it while on a diet. I personally would never stop eating chicken. Okay, so I absolutely love chicken. So here I paraphrase the question. I absolutely love chicken. I give a degree of how much I love chicken. Okay, so I paraphrase the question, and I give detail. It's one of the most delicious foods on earth. Again, I use verbs and a lot of adjectives. Okay. It is considered by many, it is considered a healthy protein, and many people consume it while on a diet. This is a more of a complex sentence, so I added a lot of details. For example, if I wanted to simplify this, it's considered a healthy protein. Many people eat it. Okay. Especially when they're on a diet. So I could make 3 sentences with that, but instead I just made 1 sentence. Okay. So the point is for you to join things together. Okay. And make more complex structures. So I advise you that you take that little website I shared with you. And when you practice at home, I want you to strive for making complex structures, compound sentences, complex structures. And I'll go over them with you very briefly. Okay, you have your simple sentences. I like coffee. I like chicken. You have your compound sentences, which is 2 simple sentences joined together by a connecting word. I like chicken and I like pizza. I like chicken, but I don't like pizza. All right. Then you have the more complex structures. Okay. We use a subordinating conjunction, which are like these. Right? We missed our plane because we were late. So the first part is a dependent clause. Whoopsie. Okay. The second part, because, is the connecting word right here. We were late. It means dependent means that we cannot say this by itself. This makes sense because it is connected to this sentence. So if I tell you we were late, there could be many reasons. If I say we missed our plane, somebody will think, oh, maybe he was late, or maybe something else happened, right? But if you just say we were late, it leaves too many variables there for you. Okay. To make it more complex even, it's a compound complex structure, which is what I did at the end there. John didn't come. That's the independent clause, right? Subordinated conjunction, because. Dependent clause. He was so ill. Coordinating conjunction. So. Independent clause. Mary was not happy. So if I wanted to say that sentence simpler, I could say, John didn't come. He was sick. Mary was not happy. You see? John didn't come. He was sick. Mary was not happy. All right, guys? So we can make that when we use these connecting words and we fix the structure a little bit. Okay, it improves our clarity. It improves our communication, and the speed at the speed that we can communicate. All right. So whatever you do, keep practicing those structures with all your questions. Part 1, part 2, part 3. Record yourself. Write down what you said. Go back to the structures. How can I restructure my sentences? How can I make this into a more complex structure? Now, remember, not every sentence, everything you say needs to be in a complex structure, You can use simple structures too. The point is to use a combination. That's what native speakers do. Okay, not everything is a compound complex sentence. We switch depending on the need of what we're talking about. Okay. There's any questions, you can always shoot me on the chat or just jump in. Okay, guys. So, like we did in the past lesson, you need to practice your timing before the exam. Your phone, and everybody nowadays has a phone, right? Oh, my background won't let you see mine, but I got an iPhone there. Okay, so everybody has a phone nowadays. Time yourself, record yourself. Okay, write down what you said, practice it. Now, look at part B. Identify all of the questions on the card. What, why, how, when, where, who, and so on. We need to identify these things when we're in part 2. Sometimes they're very simple. Let me see. Look at this. Okay, so every question you need to identify, right? You need to identify the what, the why, the how, the when, the where, and who, and so on. So we got the what here. We got the where. We got the why. We got the how, right? Okay, when you start describing over here, you're going to say the when. All right, so we need to identify all these things. So as you're making notes, okay, if I were you, for example, once you see this on my little sheet, 2008. Oh, that's too many zeros. Baseball. Oh, look at the when here. Look at that, right? Okay, where? New York City. Why? My friend was visiting. He made me. Oh, remember, even I messed up this, right? And I'm the teacher. Visiting friend. Okay, remember, you don't have time. Nothing special. All right. Past tense. So we need to remember, right? So we're gonna speak in some kind of, you have attended, right? So past participle, you're gonna be using past participle, past tense, and so on, right? So it's some kind of version of the past tense. You have attended. So we're talking about the past here, past tense. But let's say we're talking about the past, right? So what could be the first sentence? You could be like, the first thing that comes to mind, or I'm not a sporty person, but the first thing that comes to mind. Okay, that's an idiom. The first thing that comes to mind. Okay, the first thing I can think of. The first thing that comes to mind. So that's probably going to be my first sentence. So I need to have all these things ready. All right, and then I can continue that by saying it was the time when I went to the baseball game with my friend, and I would continue on, etc., etc., etc. Yes, you can use informal phrases. Just make sure that they're appropriate. All right, careful with your slang if you're not too sure. All righty. Now, there's one thing that I wanted to talk about is using adjective clauses. Let me bring something up. What is an adjective clause? Okay, so adjectives are words that describe. Adjective clauses are small phrases that describe. That's pretty much the what that comes down to. Let me bring up my picture here. Here we go. All right, so look at example here. The cake that she bought was delicious. So this is the adjective clause. The people who live next door are good neighbors. The game, which was played yesterday, ended in a tie. I visited the town where they met. Okay. The leaders whom we elected will commence work next week, and so on and so on. All right. So we need to use things like this, and let me give you a little guide. Let me give you some more examples here. Look at these sentences. Okay, so to give you a little bit of a background on this, so when you use an adjective clause, okay, who or that refers to people. That is also used for objects. So if you're talking about a person, to be more formal, you should always use who. That can be used for a person, but it's more informal. Okay, so if you're talking about a person, always go for who first. All right. Whose refers to possession, like whose book is this? Okay. When for time and where for a particular place. Okay, take a look at these sentences. Take a second to read them. Take a picture of them. I can also share them in the chat room. Those of you who are on a laptop can probably get a copy of it. All right, I just shared the file in the chat room. I know the ones on laptops will be able to see it. Alrighty, guys. So you need to have a lot of adjective clauses. Adjectives are your friend in the IELTS. Okay, everything is about describing something. You know, we're explaining something. So therefore, everything we answer, we need to be very descriptive. We need to give a picture to the person who's listening to us. What are we, what are we talking about? So adjectives are your friend. Okay, you need to know as many adjectives as possible. All right, I'm gonna start picking on people for part 2, so that way it's not me talking, and everybody can get some practice. Last thing I want to talk about, is the last part of the question. Sometimes people get too caught up and they get nervous, so they just start reading the question and they go bullet point by bullet point. I attended this. It was this sport. It was this. It was at this place during this time. Why? And they blah, 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 blah. And then they ran out of time. And then they forgot this question. It happens every time. Every time. So remember, give yourself enough time. Okay? Organize yourself. Write down those short little words that are going to help you remember. I would write them down in order. Okay, and make sure everything has a response, explanation, example. this applies to this part too. Okay, if you're not giving examples, if you're not explaining your answers, it's not showing that you have a good command of the language. Okay, now it's your guys' turn. Let's see. I want to see. Let's see. Would anybody like to try a part 2?
Yes, yes.
Alrighty. Nilufar, okay. You ready for me?
Yes.
Alrighty. Ah, you're with me again. Okay, thank you. Alrighty. So remember, 1 minute to prepare and 2 minutes to speak after that, okay? I'm gonna share with you the topic. Just to give you a little bit of advance notice. Describe a time when you moved to a new house. You have 1 minute to prepare starting now.
I'm ready.
Alrighty. In the future, make sure you take full advantage of that minute. So those 20 seconds could have better prepared you for being
Okay.
even more prepared. Okay. Now, 2 minutes to speak starting now.
Shall I begin?
You may start
Shall I
speaking now.
begin, Mr.?
Yes, yes. You may start speaking now.
Uh, 3 years ago, 3 years ago, we lived in two rooms flat. Then we decided to sell that flat. And one day when I was at work, one woman called me and said that he would like to see my flat, and then at the end we sold them, but unfortunately they moved to our flat after 1 week selling, and then we had to buy. Do you listen?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Hold on 1 second.
What's so noisy here?
Yes, hold on. I'm sending a message to the staff right now.
Suhrob, mikrofoningizni o'chiring. Suhrob, mikrofoningizni o'chirib qo'ying.
Oh, okay.
You can go on, guys. Sorry.
All right.
Okay,
Thank you.
sir.
All righty. I'm sorry. You may start again, okay? Because I really didn't get anything you said, and I want to give you the opportunity. All right. Please start again now.
Okay. 3 years ago, we lived 2 rooms flat. Then we decided to sell that flat and enlarge our flat and enlarge it. Then we sold it. Then we had to find a new flat so quickly because that buyer said us to move, and I found another flat, but unfortunately I couldn't enter and see that flat. We did deal on the phone, and we buy a new 4 rooms flat. After paying, we entered our new flat. It was needed repairing, and we were very unhappy, maybe, or disappointed that that flat was unrepaired. Maybe that flat was needed to repair. But my children and my husband and my parents were very glad, pleased that we had 4 rooms flat. And my children said me that they had their
Alrighty,
own
sorry to
room.
stop you there. That's the 2 minutes. Thank you. So you see, you ran out a little bit of time on the last part about how you felt moving there. So make sure you plan exactly so that you can finish on time. I noticed some of your final sounds of your ED. Work on those. Some of them are like for I lived. Okay.
I lived.
I lived, not lived. I lived.
I lived.
I lived. It just a D sound at the end. I lived. Or for example, there's the I stopped. There's the t, and the it. Okay.
I stopped.
I stopped. I lived.
I lived. Okay.
Okay. I played. Right. I played as ID at the end. So I played. I stopped. I lived. Right. So T final, ed final, eat final. Okay. So careful with those. There was a little bit too much hesitation. So try not to stop the ums and the stuff. Try to make that once or twice. Like try to use the phrase, what else can I say? Let me think for a second. All right. So try to say something in there if you need to buy yourself some more time. But like you go like this, so that there is killing your score there a little bit, okay? But keep working. You do have the knowledge, which is you have the root of this. You already have it. You understand the question and you know what you want to talk about, what you want to say. We just need to work on that structure. All right.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for participating.
Okay. Thank you. You are welcome.
Thank you. Okay. Nargisa, how you doing? You want to give it a whirl?
It's me?
Hello?
Yeah, it's you. Oh, the Nargisa with no last name. And then the Nargisa with the second name too. Both of you. I'll take both Nargisas.
I'm ready.
Okay.
Which one?
Wait.
I am.
Nargisa Jumayeva, you'll be second. Nargisa, only Nargisa, you'll be first, okay?
Okay.
Okay, Nargisa with no last name, no second name, you're first. Okay, Miss Nargisa. Describe a shop that recently opened in your town. You have 1 minute to prepare. And I want you to speak for up to 2 minutes after that. Your 1 minute begins now. Okay, Nargisa, you may start speaking now.
Okay. Let me think. Give me a second. The shop that I recently opened in my town, it was sweets. It sells sweets, and this shop very well decorated and very beautiful. And it's not small and it's not large. And I can say that it was opened 2 weeks ago, and I saw it on the Instagram, and I went to visit. I wanted to visit to see with my eyes, and it was very. You can find there different kinds of chocolates, sweets, and it sells lots of chocolates, sweets, and some kind of have sweets which is made it at home, and it's very and you can find them from Dubai. They're imported, and from USA also. And it is unusual. It was unusual shop because I couldn't find till nowadays. I couldn't find this kind of shop in my town, and I felt very my town, my country is very nowadays what I say. My country now developed day by day, and nowadays we can find easily this kind of shops.
Cool. Awesome. Good job on using those adjective clauses. The new shop that opened, which was, and you gave the detail. Very good job on that. Remember the articles? You missed quite a few of them. And the. There should have
Yeah.
been a few that were missing. Now, one of the things that definitely caught my attention is the shop. It was open 2 weeks ago. So it was open 2 weeks ago means that it's no longer open.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it was open 2 weeks
Yep.
ago.
Mm-hmm.
So the shop opened. The shop had its inauguration 2 weeks ago, or they just recently opened two weeks
Yep,
ago.
yep,
All right,
yep.
to specify the way that you said it, it'll make someone think like it's no longer open. So that part
Uh-huh.
was a little bit confusing. Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
No worries, but you definitely got through everything there. And you give a lot of details. You use an adjective clause in there, so very good job on that part.
Thank you. I
Thank
will
you.
do my best next time.
All right, that's all we
Thank
can
you.
do, right? No
Uh-huh.
worries. Okay. Somebody just send me a chat message. I'm gonna send you these topics right now before I forget, because I just have to open up this chat room real quick and dump it in there. Give me 1 second. Oh no, I thought I could just dump it in the chat box, but it's not. Okay. Yes, I will get you. Here we go. Okay, guys, if you have a, I just sent it in the chat room, so hopefully you can download it from there. And if anyone's on a laptop, please send it to your classmates. There's a lot of topics in there, and you can find many more online with all the different descriptions and whatnot. Okay, guys. So, a lot of you have been doing a good job with the adjectives, and that is, like I mentioned at the beginning, those are your friend. All right, adjectives, you need them because you're describing something, and that's the words we got to use. So keep keep doing that. Now let's talk about the use of them for different kinds of topics. I'm gonna scroll real quick through each of these. Make sure you take screenshots or ask the school to send you a send you the PowerPoint, unless you already have access to it in your online access. Okay, so for describing a person, 3 parts: the appearance, personality, actions. Look at the example: tall, short, skinny, fat, bald. Sorry, bald. Long brown hair, well built, nice big smile, round brown eyes. Personality, kind, greedy, helpful, strict. Actions, job, hobbies, volunteering. So the personality must be emphasized by actions. So that means explain why. If they're a nice person, you need to tell me why they're nice, not simply tell me that they're nice. All right. If they're athletic, oh, he's a very athletic guy. He plays sports every day. He usually works out 5 times a week and he drinks 10 protein shakes every day. Okay. So make sure you give a lot of details. Now, with this in mind, would anybody like to describe someone near them right now? Or would they like to describe me? Or someone else? Who wants to give it a try? Let's see. Next one in line I had. Oh, okay, cool. RT. Who are you gonna describe?
Hello,
Hi, how you doing?
I'm fine. What about you?
I'm surviving. All right. So who are you gonna talk about today?
I'd like to talk about my sister.
Okay, tell me.
Uh-huh. I'd like to talk about my sister, whose name is Mahsuda Opa. She's 45 years old. Although she's a housewife, she plays an important role in my life. She's really a tall woman with long hair. She's got nice big eyes, and as for her personality, she's really helpful whenever I ask for some help, like when I'm organizing some family events. She always supports me with her delicious meals. And besides, she's really hardworking. Whenever I visit her house, she's working. She really likes looking after her garden, and I can say that she's a nature person. As for a family life, she's the kindest person I've ever met, because she always looks after her children and her husband. She tries to do her best to support their family with not only by physical actions, but also by mental support. Besides, I can say that she's a good teacher. But what I mean by this is that she provides me with the best advice I've ever had.
Wow. Hey, great answer. Let me say, I love how well your sentences were, how well they were connected. You have good use of discourse markers, so everything just flows really well. You know, when you finish talking about the appearance, and then you said, "Well, as far as the personality goes," I mean, that was a smooth transition right there. Very, very, very good job. Some of the pronunciation on the final sounds, we need to work on those, and a little bit of hesitation. So the try not to do too many of those. All right, that'll affect you a little bit, but great connection with the sentences, lots of adjectives. Keep working hard. Okay, good job.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. And yes, somebody said on the notes, like the use of this markers, like I said, yes, very well organized. So everything just flow was connected, easy for me to understand everything. Okay. Yeah, grammar is just wow. For us native speakers, at first, it's like, well, I know when I first started teaching over 10 years ago, well, I know this one's right and this one's wrong, but I don't know how to tell you why this one's right. And then over the years, we learned how to do it finally after getting more experience. Yes, grammar is very tricky. Usually the non-native speakers are better at the grammar than the native speakers because they study it so much more. We just know how to do it. They know how to express it. All righty.
Yeah.
So, describing a place, location, appearance, history, function. Okay, look at that. Think about it like a tour. Whenever you talk about a place, think about it. You're giving someone a tour, and then you go section by section. You know, the location. How does it look? What's the history behind it? What's the function? All right. So that is something that, again, a lot of adjectives, and we need to imagine ourselves given a tour. So I'm going to pick on the other. Let's see, who else do I have over here? Now, Nargisa Yumayeva, are you ready for me?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. Now, for this exercise, I just want you to describe the room that you're in right now. Where is it? What does it look like? Is it new? Is it old? Any history behind it? What do you usually use the room for? Try to organize your idea from 1 to 4. Okay.
Okay. I will try to describe my room. Okay.
Okay.
You know, we have moved a new house 3 years ago. So because the old flat wasn't big enough to live, so that we decided to move a new house. Uh, and I have then when we moved the new house, I had the chance to get enough uh, room for my own. So I have my own room right now. Um, the the room is very big and full of well furnished. There is a big uh, a big shelf, and how can I describe my room? I haven't remember words right now. So there is everything with what which I wanted. So I bought new furniture, for example, study. Sorry. Um, and so
All right. So let me
I
interrupt you right there.
I
Thank you
have
so much. So let me give you some feedback. So now I have of my own. Maybe what you wanted to say is now I have my a private space, or I have my personal space. One thing is careful with the final sounds. Repeat after me. Furnished.
furnished.
Good.
Furnished.
Good. Perfect. Yeah. So careful with the ed final sounds. There's a t, there's an it, and there's a d. Okay. Practice those. Especially you can try something with like Google Translate or something like that.
Okay.
All right. But thank you so much for describing your room for us. Let's see. Let's see. Who else? Who can describe the room that they're in right now? Kurshida. Tell me about the room that you're in right now. Oh, no? Okay. Kurshida, I see your hand up. No? All right. Can't get it right now. Hey, Shukruyo, how about you describe your room for us?
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Okay.
All righty. Tell us about your room.
Room. So, okay. Now I'm going to talk about my study room. There are lots of facilities. For example, a desk and a what to say, double bed, and it is. I think my room is what does mean modern. I think the walls are white and it's very comfortable for me. So that's it.
All right. So my study, I don't know if you're trying to say your studio or your office, because we don't normally say
Study room.
study room. Oh, okay. All right.
Study room.
Cool. Cool. So maybe in English we usually just call it maybe like a home office.
Okay.
So you're in your home office. Instead of saying like, what does it mean if you ever instead of saying what does it mean, you can always say instead of saying that out loud, if you need to say it, how do you say? Okay, so that's something to buy you time. How do you say it? How do you say? All right, instead of what does it mean, so that you
Okay.
can use a phrase to give you a second to get a second to think. All right, thank you for sharing with us. That's okay. Let's see. Kurshida, you can still share with us, but how about you describe the room that you're in? Oh, I think we lost it. Kurshida? No. Talk about the room? No. Okay, no worries. All right, guys. So good job to those guys who described me the room. So when I mean like a tour guide, for example, describe the room that you're in. Well, I'm in my office. It's kind of a small room. It's very bright. Although it's small, it feels spacious. It has a big window. It's not very well furnished, but I do have a desk and a sofa in here, and I store a few things. Everything is around the corners in this office. And then the space in the middle is where I have the chair. My cat loves to hang out in this room because we have plants, and she loves to chill by the plants and take in the sun of the day. All right. So imagine that you're giving someone a tour of the place. Describe how bright the room is. Is it new? Is it old? All right. So this is not an object, but give me a second here. Hey guys, this is not an object, but this is Mimi, the cat, and I love her very much. So this is Mimi. She's a small cat. She's about 1 year old. It's about a year old now. We got her from a friend. She's very fluffy. She's very small. She doesn't like to be loved, but we love her anyways. And she's very nice and to hug. And whenever it's raining or you're cold or anything, she's very wonderful to have. Whenever I feel bad, I always like to pet her and show her love, even if she doesn't like it very much. Say hello. Hello. All right. That's it, guys. Okay. So it's a she. You don't like cats, Nulifar. I'm sorry. My friend has a dog. Maybe I'll show you the dog next time. Oh, okay. Well, Mimi, my cat Mimi, she will be more afraid of you than you of her. Yeah. So be very descriptive. The shape, the size, how does it feel? All right. So look at this one. For example, this is a battery pack. This is my battery pack that I use when I'm in class sometimes, if I need to, in case I need to use the 4G by emergency. It's flat. It's very smooth. It's pink. It's very convenient to have in case something happens in an emergency. So when you're talking, you want the person, like from your words, you want them to have a clear picture of what you're talking about. Be very descriptive. So if I close my eyes and I'm listening to you, I know what you're talking about. Okay. Jamishbek, can you describe an object for us, please? Oh, sorry. I think your audio might be messed up. I can't hear you if you're talking.
Yes, I am here. What kind?
Choose anything you want. Just describe it. Be
Yes,
very
I am
precise.
here.
And give us an example of how you use it.
I am sorry. Okay. Object. Example. Excuse me, can you give me, for example, such as what kind of object?
Anything that's next to you, a pen, a bottle, your phone, a mouse, a pair of scissors, anything that you can reach with your hand right now, and describe it for me.
Okay, give me a second. Now, I would like to talk about my cell phone. My cell phone is not modern, but I can use I can use for everything. If I have a online lesson, I can search it on internet easily. Besides, his ecran is a bit scratched, and I usually use my phone for calling somebody or listening audio lessons. Besides, when I am on the way, I use my phone for listening audiobooks. Me to many things.
All right, buddy. I'm sorry. I'm gonna stop you right there. Sorry. Let me stop you. Your connection is really bad. But to give you some feedback, remember the object pronouns. So it, I need for blah blah blah. No, I need it for, or I need the phone for, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so remember to use your object your objects at the end. Either mention the object or use an object pronoun. Okay, so I need it or I need the phone. Also remember your prepositions. To, going to, or it's for. All right, little things like that. We need to make sure that we include all these words so that our sentence is well connected and it's easy, it's clear.
I am sorry. I am going to speak, I forgot all grammar rules. So I am sorry.
No, don't be sorry. I'm just helping you out. Never apologize for this, please. I'm here to give you feedback and help you. Just, try to work on see what helps you uh, while you're speaking. And trust me, I'm studying a foreign language and I have the same problem. So it's not only you. You didn't do anything wrong. It's part of the process of learning the language.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you for participating. All righty, guys. Let's see. Kurshida, are you there now? Kurshida, no? No, you talk to me. Mukamatsum. Kurshida. Hey, there you are. Can you describe an event you went to? Just a quick description. Maybe a birthday or a graduation.
Sorry, you want me to speak?
Yes.
Please call me Mukadam.
Oh, Mukadam. Oh, okay, sorry. I thought it was a Kurshida.
Yeah,
and
it's
I
easier.
thought you were doing it right. Okay, Mukadam. Yeah, thank you. Please describe an event you went to. Anything you want to talk about, a birthday. Be very descriptive. I want us, when you talk, I want us to imagine the event. What did it look like? What did it have? How many people? What activities did they do? Where was it at?
Okay,
things like that. Be specific, and we're gonna try to imagine what you say.
Okay, let me talk about my 2-year-old daughter's birthday party that we had last month at home. My daughter turned 2, and we organized a birthday party for her at home, inviting some of our friends. And it was very enjoyable, both for us, ourselves, and for my daughter. Although she's too young to realize what the party is, but she was very happy about blowing candles or singing a happy birthday song and other activities. What else? And what she enjoyed most was blowing candles, and we had to light the candles on several times for her because she loved it so much, and it was a very unforgettable party, as she's the first child and family, and that's all.
All right. Thank you. Next time, make sure that your thoughts are better organized. Like you were quite descriptive. Give me more details about what actually happened in the party. Like, were there a lot of people? First they ate cake, then they play games. So take me in order of a timeline. How did the event go next time? Okay, so you gave me a lot of details, but it could have been better organized. So it's an event, so I would go from what did it look like, and then go from the beginning to the end of the party. So describe the setting, where was everything, and then give me a timeline how everything went down. All right.
Sure, thanks.
Thank you so much for participating. Let's see. Sevara.
Hello, yes. It's
All right.
me.
Hey, there you are. So describe an event you went to. I want you to start with the location and the setting, and then go into the timeline of the activity and tell me the activities that you did and whatnot.
Okay, the first event that comes to my mind is our graduation party of the psychologist group. So we all decided to gather in the middle of in the center of the city in the one Chinese restaurant. We all went there at 7 o'clock. We gathered all together. We were 10 people. It was very beautiful place, very unique, with all Chinese decorations. We ordered Chinese food, and it was rice in different kind of veggie dishes, and also meat and chicken. Then there was very beautiful music, and also live music there. All people, all the people gathered, had a lot of fun there. We danced, we had good party there, and we enjoyed the party very much. That's all.
Good, awesome. You did great with the timeline of the party. Remember your prepositions and remember your articles. And the. Okay, Chinese restaurant. One of the things is like that you said we went to the one Chinese restaurant, and then you went into something else. So we went to the one Chinese restaurant. When you say it like that in English, you're assuming that I know the Chinese restaurant, and never assume the examiner knows. We went to the only Chinese restaurant in town, or to the one Chinese restaurant in this area, or be a little bit more specific. So we went to the one Chinese restaurant closest to the school. Add a little bit more so that you can define what the one Chinese restaurant is.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you
Yes.
so much.
What else?
Alrighty.
What about the grammar? I think a lot of mistakes there.
Yes, you missed a lot of prepositions, as I mentioned. So 2 and 4 and a few sentences. There was so many for me to catch. Please pay attention to those and pay attention to the articles. And the, so school, my colleagues, or the friends, or a friend of mine, like things like that. Pay attention to the and those 3 articles for sure. Those are the 2 biggest mistakes that I caught.
Okay, thank you. I'm a little bit nervous, that's why.
No worries, no worries.
Okay, thank you.
I've been in your shoes. I totally understand. All right, guys, we don't have a lot of time left. Thank you. For part 3, next session, I'll dive into a little bit more part 3 if we can. But part 3 needs to be very detailed. So the examiner will ask you, you answer. Complete sentences, long, very details. Complex structure, so use adjective clauses, use conjunctions. Many of those questions need thinking. So remember these phrases. Oh, I want to put them right here in the, oh, I don't even need to put them in the chat. I just need to bring up. Okay, you need to buy yourself some time. So Oh, that's a good one. Let me think. Oh, wait, no. Let's do proper English. Let me think. Oh, you got me on that one. Let me see. Hmm. Okay. Phrases like that. All right. You need to do things like that to help you buy you some time. And it'll be definitely necessary in part 3. Okay, so part 1 are common things that everyone should know about. Part 3 is more detailed about the topic itself. So you're gonna use a lot of topic specific vocabulary, and you're expected to be using advanced grammar. Yes, absolutely. If it fits, definitely. It all depends on what you're talking about. And yes, phrasal verbs can come up for good use in any of the parts. Okay, as always, doesn't matter if it's part 1, part 2, or part 3, give examples. Giving examples shows your understanding of the question. I cannot stress that enough. Examples are necessary. All righty, guys. Any questions? Anything that I can answer last minute here? RT, what can I do for you? Sebosha.
Yes. Hello.
Hi, any questions?
No question. I would like to participate for part 3 only.
Okay, let's do, you'll be the last one here speaking for part 3. Let's see. Let's do a part 3 for you. Let me bring up my topics. And we'll do one before we go. I'm okay with this. Let's see. Do you think that most shopping will be done online in the near future?
I don't think so, because most people prefer to go to the shopping in order to check what items they are purchasing, and to know about what color it is, what size it is. If we have rely on to online shopping only, sometimes we have such kind of obstacles while purchasing. Firstly, we don't know exactly the size of what we are purchasing, and of course, its color as well. And therefore, I don't think that most shopping will not be online in the future.
So the last part, therefore, I say that again.
Therefore, I don't think that most shopping will not be online.
So, so therefore, I think most shopping will not be done online in the future. There you go. All right. Yeah, we had to. I was a little bit confused on that part. Good job. You provided a lot of details. You need to dig into a little bit more topic specific vocab, so like habits and future trends. One word that that I saw you or you mispronounced, repeat after me. Obstacles.
Obstacles, like shall I explain it?
No. I understood what you mean, like an obstacle, like something that's in the way, right?
Yeah, I mean that it might be obstacles for those people who cannot want to surf the internet, or for those people who cannot use internet.
No. Yeah. I get the meaning what you said. I just want to correct your pronunciation. Obstacles.
Obstacles.
Obstacles. Obstacle. There you go. Okay,
Obstacle.
cool. There you go. Yep. You got it. I don't have a book, but Shagnosa, but you should study every topic possible. Okay. The IELTS examiner can repeat the question for you, but they're not going to rephrase it. They're not going to explain anything for you. It's your job to understand them. But simply repeat the question would be okay. All right, guys, that's all the time we have for today. For tonight, I should say. It was nice seeing you again. And we'll see you next Wednesday at the same time.
Thank you. Thank you for your lesson.
Thank you, guys. Good to see you and hear you guys again. Have a good night, everyone.
Thanks a lot. See you.
Thanks a lot for your lesson.
Thank you, guys. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Tra.